Final cut down day is Tuesday, and a lot of people, on Bears media have been putting out their 53-man prediction for the Bears. And this is something with Ryan Poles. He always says it's hard to make this roster, so it's a tough thing to predict because he's always going to go shorter in position groups that you think he's going to put a lot of add more depth in. But here's my 53-man roster prediction for the Chicago Bears. Now, you get two short-term IR players, and those two players will be Austin Booker, a guy that is going to miss some time due to his knee injury, a couple weeks. We don't know exactly how much time, so he'll probably be a short-term IR candidate at the very least. Maybe he's on IR. One of the two. I think he'll be on either or. Roschon Johnson's another guy we haven't heard anything about yet, so I think he's a short-term IR candidate. Those two guys are on my short-term IR for this roster prediction. And let's start off with the quarterbacks. Caleb Williams, Tyson Bagent, Case Keenum. One of the best quarterback rooms that Ben Johnson has to work with, so I think this is a pretty solid unit. You feel good in your backup quarterback. You feel great with the veteran quarterback like Case Keenum, who's going to provide valuable wisdom. You're going to help Caleb Williams, Tyson Bagent, those guys prepare better day after day because he's seen it all. Been on some playoff teams. The Minnesota Miracle was on that team. That Minnesota went pretty far in the playoffs, so he's seen it all. So this is great, valuable veteran for this quarterback room. The running backs. I got 4 running backs. I said Roschon Johnson is on short-term IR, so Travis Homer, special teams guy, is a Hightower guy. Hightower loves him. DeAndre Swift, of course. Kyle Monangai, hopefully he's going to be ready to go. It didn't seem like his injury was that concerning, but Ian Wheeler, that's probably going to be the biggest one that, people are like, hey, you got Ian Wheeler making the roster. That's the one I think I'm really confident in, his ability to go out there and maybe step up if he needs to. All the traits, all his skill sets, I think they value what this team wants to do. Wants to be a fast, explosive team, and he's a fast, explosive player, and he can return the ball too. So I like his case to make the roster, and he's somebody that Ryan Poles loves. It's very sad when he went down with this torn ACL, but it's nice to see him back up, and he's healthy. And he made the most of it, his opportunities in week 2, in the week 2 preseason game. Wide receivers, I have 6. This is the most interesting position group to watch for, roster cut down. DJ Moore, Luther Burden, Alameda Zacchaeus, Roma Dunze. Those are the 4 guys that are locks. It's the receivers after that 4. Devin Duvernay, Miles Boykin, Jahdae Walker, Maurice Alexander. Those are the 4 receivers that are in competition to be one of those, the last receiver or the last 2 receivers. So 2 or 1 of those 4 will make the Bears roster. It depends on how many Ryan Poles wants to go. I would do 6 personally. I think 2 guys have made a case more than the other guys. The other guys, Miles Boykin, Duvernay, you're going more off like trust and them just being, veterans. Miles Boykin's that big body receiver threat that you would want to back up Roma Dunze should, knock on wood, anything happen to him. Devin Duvernay is a return guy, slot receiver. He's had some great success with Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Has some success as a return man too. Has been an All-Pro, has been a Pro Bowl return man. So there's that, but really we haven't heard too much about him in preseason. He's, run some good routes. You look good a couple practices. But Maurice Alexander, he's been garnishing more buzz, and he's been proving it in the preseason. He's been playing really well in the preseason. Had that toe tap touchdown against the Dolphins, and he's made plays every game he's been in. And then Jahdae Walker, I think he has more of a case than Maurice Alexander. So if we do 5 receivers, I wouldn't mind having him be that guy. Obviously, they probably go Duvernay, but I wouldn't mind him being that guy. And then Maurice Alexander, I personally would want us to do 6 receivers just so Walker and Alexander can make the roster, but I could see Poles doing 5 receivers and have Duvernay be that 5th. But Maurice Alexander, that's the guy that's going to be a practice squad guy. If you don't add him to the 53-man roster, I think he can make the practice squad. But Jahdae Walker, teams need receivers, so he's not making the practice squad. Somebody's going to claim him quickly. So that's why I think you got to put him on your 53-man roster. Tight ends, easy. Smythe, Loveland, Kokomat, those 3, easy. Offensive line, I'm going 9. I think Ozzie Trapillo, Braxton Jones, Theo Benedict, he's going to make this 53-man roster. He's been great all camp. He's been looking better than Braxton Jones at times. Darnell Wright, Joe Tooney, Jonah Jackson. Luke Newman's been phenomenal all camp and in the preseason. He's been starting and, going to work against Chris Jones with the Chiefs. He was great in the Chiefs game. Drew Dalman and Ryan Bates. I don't think Kyron Omega G makes this roster. He was playing into the fourth quarter, playing with the deep backups. Doug Kramer, I think he, really missed some opportunities. Unfortunately being injured and being banged up. Not too many guys that are making a name for themselves other than Theo and Luke Newman. Those guys have been great. Trapillo looks like he's more comfortable on the right side. I think the right side is more for him, so we'll see. But Luke Newman, it's been the biggest surprise on this offensive line, I think. Theo Benedict, too. Bears defense, let's go defensive tackles. Grady Jarrett, Jervon Dexter, Chris Williams, Andrew Billings, and Shamar Turner. That's an obvious 5. I think Pickens gets cut. I really like what Chris Williams has done in the preseason. He had 3 sacks last year, so he's been a really nice surprise addition, and he's carrying over what he did last season into this season, so great camp by him. Shamar Turner, think there's potential and upside with him. Now, hopefully, we get to see something from him now that he's back healthy. Defensive ends, I'm going to go 5. Dio Dangbo, Montez Sweat, and I think we signed a defensive end, a Jadeveon Clowney, a Zadarius Smith, one of those guys. And then Tano, he's going to be, backup defensive end because he has great versatility. He can play defensive tackle, could play defensive end. And, this is somebody that Dennis Allen's worked with. He could trust him. And then Dom Robinson, I think he's been great this camp. And, he's had some promise, had a sack in one of the preseason games. He's somebody that's, been, floating on this roster, but with his size, it fits the scheme very well. Should be a backup defensive end on this roster. But I could see him as somebody that could get cut. If Austin Booker doesn't go to short-term IR, they probably send him to the practice squad. Daniel Hardy is somebody, too, that I think is on the bubble. He might get cut. I could see the argument for him over Dom Robinson. I wouldn't be mad if Daniel Hardy is and Dom Robinson goes to practice squad because Daniel Hardy, he's one of our best special teams players, had a strip sack in the last game, but either or, it's a flip of your coin. I think there's upside with both. Linebackers, Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, Noah Sewell, Ruben Hippolyte, Amin. I think the linebacker we signed last offseason, solid guy, solid special teams guy. I think that 5 is obvious. That's the core they're going with. Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson, Nashawn Wright, Josh Blackwell, and Nick McLeod is the 6 corners I'm going with. I think Nick McLeod makes his secondary. I think he makes a 53-man roster because he could play safety, he could play corner, outside, slot. He could do it all. Very versatile corner, so I think he's in the mix. Nashawn Wright, he was barbecue chicken against the Chiefs. Hopefully, he's a lot better in the regular season. Hopefully he shows up a little more because the training camp buzz has been great. What he's done in practice has been great, but when these games happen, he's been a little barbecue chicken on the outside. Safeties, obviously. Safeties is one of the more obvious ones, too. Elijah Hicks is a safety you could trust to fill in if Brisker, Kevin Byard goes down. Jonathan Owens, too. Great special teams upside with them. Had a special teams touchdown last season against the Titans' first game. So, huge upside with them. Those 4 guys you could trust. And then special teams, too. Kicker, Cairo Santos, Torrey Taylor, Scott Daly. Those are your special teams guys. So, right now, yeah, the biggest position battle is going to be the receiver battle and maybe corner, offensive line, to see what they do with Kyron. But it's pretty clear. There are some obvious routes that the Bears can go with this 53-man roster, but let me know down below in the comments your thoughts on this, on my roster prediction, and some guys that you think should make the roster over some guys that you think should be cut. But I would want him to get an extension done with, Keenan Allen. I would want him to stay with the Chicago Bears for maybe 2 or 3 more years because he's coming off his best season last year with the Chargers.